much dip. It's the TMD podcast. My name is David. Let it hit. Let it hit again. There it is. Dillon Shivery in studio with me, talking sports, mixing it up, just chopping it up like guys. What's up?
After your team loses the big game, it's nice to have like that extra day of buffer. I mean, today's Tuesday. The game, it's been 2 days since the game I just referenced. It's nice. I'm in a good headspace about it, surprisingly.
You know what I've always said?
On to next year.
This is what I've always said.
When my team wins a big game, it's good. But when my team doesn't win the big game, you better look out, Buster. I'm a loose cannon. This is not good at all.
It's not good at all, KJ. KJ coming to us live from Madison.
The hesitations in that drop are always my favorite parts of it. But yes, coming to you live from Madison here in the Cucked North. Thank you for Micah for standing in, taking care of the pod while I stood in the corner and finished up some business on my own. I would like to keep things efficiently on track.
Time out.
Did you just
You put yourself in the cuck chair.
you shoehorned in a cuck joke?
I just had to sit back and just wait in the waiting room. Randy was like, yeah. 1 second. Micah's doing his thing. You just need to sit there in that chair. We'll let you know when you're ready to come on. So, hey, I get it.
If you're wondering what KJ is referring to, other than the cuck chair thing, of course, Micah popped on with us. Dillon and I, we just did kind of a Dallas Cowboys autopsy, just a little group therapy, talked it over for, about 37 minutes at the end of the pod.
We laughed, we cried, we learned a little something.
It was remarkably hinged across the board.
Yeah,
but
Micah actually, he didn't call anybody fat, for the record.
No one's body was criticized.
He held it together.
Except for,
nice.
we kind of arguably. Anyway, what's up, man? Are you getting snow up there?
If you know where you're looking.
Talking cocaine.
Nothing
Dillon.
today.
Right.
Things have melted a little bit. But I'm glad you brought that up. I'd like to express, my grave concern and T's and P's and all of those things to the good folks of North Texas. Home is where the heart is, so it's not quite there. But, my thoughts are certainly with you guys as you're looking at, I don't know, I think they said like maybe up to 1 inch or so, maybe accumulating to 2 inches of snow. Sounds pretty crazy. So with that said, maybe you should buy that extra loaf of bread, save up, buy half an egg or two, and really hunker down over the next 48 hours.
Okay.
Thoughts are with you, folks.
He's been up there for 6 months. He's already cocky northern guy. He's cocky northern snow guy. Go ahead, tell us we're bad. We don't know what we're doing, how we drive in snow. For the record, it's not going to snow here. That's going to be far, far northwest Texas, if it does at all.
Leave a little space, take your time. Approach the stop sign. You don't need your brakes as much as you think you do.
You need to
steer into.
You need to take to Twitter with this. This needs to be your new thing. You need to just really, really wreak havoc on
every news headline I see from a Delkus adjacent panic about weather. I got that sitting on top of the grill right now.
You guys don't even know what a snowdrift is, do you? Yeah.
Last derailment, and I'll try to keep this a quick one.
Please.
Today is the 24th of January.
Facts.
Is it too late for not only exterior Christmas lights, but full-blown Christmas trees to be displayed in windows here in the United States of America and North America?
What you choose to do with your home in remembrance, in honoring the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Dillon, KJ, is up to you, and I won't judge. However,
It's too late.
seems a little late.
Thank you.
It's a month. It's been a month.
I still have people in my neighborhood who not only are their lights up, they're turning them on.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's my problem.
And I'm wondering, like, man, I guess lunchflation hasn't hit your home yet.
I think Santa Claus was still on our roof when Brittany started taking our shit down. She was like, all right, enough of the Christmas spirit. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, at least extend it to like New Year's Day.
Did she say bah humbug?
She may have, but she was throwing shit out and tearing lights off the roof. I was like, you just got to chill out a bit.
I do think I took down a wreath like on the way to the garage, like with the first load of wrapping paper, like getting it out of the living room, I was already grabbing decorations at that moment on Christmas Day. So right there with you.
God, Ebenezer Splooge over here. Scrooge.
Come on, man. What are you doing?
Well done.
I want to give a big
Professional.
shout out to our. I want to give a big shout out to our good friends at DraftKings, the DraftKings Sportsbook. 4 NFL teams, KJ, 4 of them. 2 conference championship games, 2 of them, Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
And only a few more shots to win big on the playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Not a new customer? You can feel the conference championship thrills with stepped-up same-game parlays. Take your shot at an even bigger NFL payout and boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. I don't know what you guys are eyeing, but I'm kind of rocking with the Bengals right now. I know, man. I don't know. That line looks enticing.
What's the line? What do you got?
Putting me on the spot here. I just said it looked enticing.
It may have hopped a little bit. Let's see.
Yeah, it hopped.
It is 2.5
Yeah.
favoring the Bengals.
Wow.
High ankle sprain's a tough one. It's a tough one. Ask Tony Pollard. More on that later. Anyway, shout out to DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WASHED. New customers can bet $5 on the conference championships and get $200 in free bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WASHED. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. See show notes for details.
Bang.
We got some golf.
Where do we want to
controversy.
begin?
We got to start with golf. People tuned in to hear this golf beef. How disrespectful is it to throw a golf tee at someone?
It's not. It's up there. It's not as bad as stomping on someone's ball and pushing it down in the dirt, but it's up there.
And I have to wonder. Of course, we're referring to the Rory McIlroy, Patrick Reed controversy, which is going down, I believe, in Dubai. All the buzz. This is where we're at with golf coverage right now. All the buzz has been Pat Reed tried to say what's up to Rory. Rory wouldn't look at him, wouldn't acknowledge him. Pat Reed throws a tee. If he threw a tee, it's one thing. But you ever done the tee flick? You could get some good velocity with a flick, and that's a completely different game. That can hurt somebody. It's hard to throw a golf tee hard, is what I'm telling you. Much easier to flick. It's an awkward thing.
The Razor Ramon, if you will.
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Is he dead?
Oh, yeah, we did lose him. Yeah, we lost him last year.
Fuck.
That is correct.
Was he doing it to fuck with them, or was this like mean spirited? I mean, it is Patrick Reed, so it's hard to give the guy the benefit of the doubt here, but I could see me doing that to you, being like, "Yo, Dave, like,
Did you not?
hey, dickhead."
No, Rory wants nothing to do with him. Rory was ignoring him as Patrick Reed was trying to acknowledge him.
I could still see Patrick Reed in that context being like a playful, like, "Hey, dickhead, I'm right here," instead of like you feel me.
People didn't like him before. They really don't like him post Saudi bag. And Rory's kind of been the captain PGA. He's wearing the cape. He's been the guy really out there. Him and JT, Spieth to some extent. But it's just hilarious. I love stuff like this because like I haven't tuned into a ton of golf, but this is starting to get me back into it. I do my best tweeting during golf season. So this is exactly what I needed. KJ, I know you're a big golf guy.
I will say this. There was a headline 3 days ago. Rory McIlroy says PGA Live Golf feud is out of control. But here he is, like, in what would have been, like, nobody would have written a headline. Rory McIlroy says hi to Patrick Reed and walks by. Like, here he is continuing this drama. Now, if this is a situation where it's like, he never talks to anybody, at the driving range ahead of a round.
He definitely
get
does.
it. But I'm fairly sure, that's not the case, as confirmed by you. But I just don't think that I can give Rory as much of a benefit of the doubt because from the beginning, I've thought he's been a little too high and mighty of being Captain PGA, as you labeled him. Like, if you want to let this like simmer down, just like move on. I know nobody likes Patrick Reed, myself included, but it isn't that hard just to be like, yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, that's fair. The ignoring thing's a little much. I mean, I don't know. There's probably a Colin Farrell meme out there.
Is this feud healthy for the popularity of golf?
Yes, I think so. Because that's the number one deterrent to people getting into golf is that it's boring. If you get some beef, you get some street beefs.
These events that have golfers from both PGA and LIV attending.
It's a DP event.
It's more.
You ever been to one of those?
No,
It's a
I
European
haven't.
thing.
Never have, Dave. I'd be more inclined to tune in if they were both at the same tournament than I were to be if just watching LIV or PGA.
If they were paired together,
watered down fields, no controversy. You feel me? So
yes.
give me a little cattiness.
Go off, King.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Pun intended.
Oh. Did you see Stapleton's doing the national anthem?
Yeah, I did.
We're getting Stapes.
I'm a big Stapes guy. You know that about me.
This is a 1-2 punch. You're getting Stapleton national anthem. You're getting Babyface America the Beautiful. That's 12-time Grammy winner Babyface.
Hadn't heard from Babyface in a minute.
Been a minute.
Yeah.
He's actually an old man. He's old man face now. He rebranded.
Okay, Jimmy Kimmel. That was very late night talk show monologue of you.
Come on. Got a lot of new listeners. Don't tell people how bad I suck yet.
If this would, wow, this about to sound terrible. Babyface, I feel like, is always tied to Atlanta, like the city of. So if the Super Bowl was there, I could understand it. It's not like you have to have regional acts, whatever. But whatever, if Babyface says yes, you say yes to Babyface. So whatever, I'm all in. Don't necessarily love that we add in an extra performance, but whatever.
Yeah, you think it should be one or the other? I kind of agree with that.
Got a feeling we're gonna get a lot of Stapleton tweets.
KJ, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes exactly to give any Cowboy takes you want because, like I said, we did 37 minutes on it at the end. You had a tweet that I almost responded to. Go ahead.
Well, I was doing that was a very veiled attempt to. I'm listening to the radio guy, and I really want to at the guys talking on said radio because I definitely don't want to text the guys that were talking on the radio. So I'll just write a very high-level tweet and swallow my thoughts in the moment about it. And that was, we'll talk about the Jags later, but so quickly people are overlooking the fact that the Cowboys played a third-string quarterback because he has been successful. It's very Nick Foles-esque. It's a respectable storyline. A lot we can talk about Brock Purdy. Maybe next week, who knows, whatever. But you're trotting out one of the most respected defenses, minus some injuries at corner, in the NFL, second to the Niners. And nobody walked away from that game saying, oh, their defense just got their teeth kicked in. You did what you needed to do. Everyone went into the game questioning Brett Maher. He did what he needed to do for the most part, with the exception of one blocked extra point. Didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. The offense showed up scared of the other team, and that was an absolute embarrassment. Not having Amari Cooper on the roster, or not even not having Amari Cooper, not having any assets from trading Amari Cooper on the roster or to look forward to is an embarrassment for that organization. A 5th-round pick in which every other wide receiver was acquired in the offseason last year for a lot more, free agent signings included. I really wish I would have taken the time to go back and pull our discussion following the Commanders game, because I think we briefly asked the question, any concern leading into the division or the wild card round? And my reflexive answer was, no, the Cowboys will do what they always do. They will overperform next week only to disappoint their fan base the following week. And
you called it.
That's not like that's some like unique special foresight. It's just what has happened 95% of my life. So I don't hate the Cowboys. I don't wish ill upon them. I would have preferred that we were to come in here and talk more about how their season's going to continue. But I just, living so close to their fan base for so long, that week in between the week in between the Buccaneers and my brain is just the Niners. The overconfidence of Cowboys cannot be compared. The disappointment and the letdown and the anger is so far disconnected from their attitudes following the Commanders game that I'm just like, do you not remember 2 weeks ago when you thought this team wouldn't win another game? Why are you so angry right now if you thought they were crap 12 days ago?
I'd push back on that.
And the truth is in the middle.
You could it'd be one thing if San Francisco trucked you, but that was a very winnable game. You just needed your quarterback to be a little bit above average. Not even great.
It wasn't even a heartbreaker. No. It was more of like just a bloodletting disappointment. Like, I get being frustrated, but the amount of drama that Cowboy fans I never again. I watch this 42-inch TCL television.
As I roundhouse kick my TV in front of my family. As I headbutt my TV and give myself a concussion.
Yeah, I give Dillon credit quite often for being, amongst the best type of sports fan that you can find. Informed and very passionate and picks his spots, but also knows when to be like, you know what, we'll be back. And that kind of level-headedness is lost on a lot of Cowboys fans.
Oh, thanks, KJ. Hey, here's a little sidetrack a bit. Some breaking news that affects both you and me, KJ. Wide receivers coach of the Jaguars, Chris Jackson, has departed and is now joining the staff in the same position at University of Texas.
Why?
How random is that?
Yeah.
That really worked out well. That's some good breaking news.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow. Okay.
Probably more money.
I
think he gets a pay raise and gets to, I don't know, maybe he wants to recruit. I don't know. Anyway.
Good for him. I'm not familiar with, I wasn't familiar with the game, but, I would say as we get to the Jags later, the wide receivers for the Jaguars overperformed.
There it is.
We saved that. So good for him.
Can we give a shout out before we talk Jags to our good friends at Athletic Greens?
Please, Dave.
Oh, yes.
You know I love my AG1.
Started my day.
Like I do every morning, like we all do every morning, started my day with AG1. Wake up, rip open a pack, pop it in a water bottle, 6-8 ounces water, shake it up, pound it. It's the first thing I do. So what is it? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, or your aging, Dillon. We're both aging. No, both of us. You look good. You look like you have Botox, is what I was told.
Come on, dude.
KJ, what?
Aside from responding to Ricky Prosper about some, touch-ups to my forthcoming cartoon profile, the best I can do to preserve my public face is to stay on top of my AG1 on a daily basis. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system. As David probably just told you moments ago, no more millions of pills on a daily basis and supplements. I'm going to stop because he's nodding his head like I just said this 10 seconds ago.
No, you're
Go
rolling.
ahead.
I did not.
Oh, okay then. I'll tell people that it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it.
It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself, KJ. It costs you less than $3 a day. You seen the price of eggs out there? You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. God, do I know something about a cold brew habit?
This guy likes cold brew.
Like it a lot. Love it. Invest in your all-in-one nutritional insurance. Like KJ said, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/BetQL Bang. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/bang to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens. Check it out. You'll feel better. Boom. All right, KJ, since you're rolling right now, let's just what happened with these Jags?
That is just a good reminder to don't look away at any point in time. Stay engaged, stay dialed in. Don't look at anything else. Be in the zone when you're in the zone. Because David might ask you a question on the spot and you may completely misread where you're at in the show. Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't even think it's fair to say that they overperformed. I think it's my prevailing thought in that was that game was just as winnable as the Cowboys loss was. Like, those games were very similar as they went down to the wire. It is very weird to me, like, how optimistic it seemed that the players on the field were for the Jaguars. They showed the same thing in the Chargers game, so maybe that's why it was so fresh in their face or fresh in their mind. But it was shown on their faces, like, up until the point they were kicking a field goal, kicking the onside kick. They were really dialing in to, like, try to come back and win a game that they shouldn't have been in the first place. Didn't see it for Dallas, but this isn't about Dallas. Had Travis Etienne played last year, I worry that we would have had Urban Meyer around for longer, because he absolutely delivered. I think like 1,100 yards rushing. Like, he was a weapon.
Yeah, Urban laid a nice foundation for the team, franchise going forward.
I mean, his draft picks were unquestionably solid. All of the free agent signings were unquestionably good. Maybe that's Trent Baalke's credit, but there aren't any misses in their draft class and free agent signings the last 2 years. Evan Ingram from this offseason has been a tremendous asset. Really hopeful that they can re-sign him, or maybe go get Michael Mayer or whoever from the tight end class this year. Last thing on the Jags in general, I wouldn't have felt bad if they got the win because Chad Henne stayed in the game. I'd have been like, them's are the breaks. I did feel a little bit bad. If we're going to lose the game, I don't want this issue to, like, screw up the Chiefs' run for the rest of the playoffs. Like, give it to me one way or the other. Like, as bad as Travis Kelce torched us, it didn't feel good to lose by 7. You know, either get blown out and keep Patrick Mahomes healthy so we can see good football, or, you know, have him take the day off and sneak out of there with the W. That just didn't happen.
I was pulling for y'all. I think many people were. I wanted the storyline. I like Trevor Lawrence. He's one of the few Clemson guys I pull for. But
yeah,
that's house money. That's like, people say that a lot. Like, y'all were playing with house money. Cowboys were not playing with house money. So you probably
Cowboys are playing on payday loan money.
They went to Cash America, got that PDL, 38% interest rate. Not good.
Last thing on the Jags, I'm pretty sure I was very vocal about Christian Kirk being very overpaid. He was the first wide receiver signed last offseason when he left the Cardinals, and like way over market. So I was surprised about that, and he absolutely delivered. So I'm happy with their season. Quickly on the other two games, and I know we got to wrap up soon.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills, I'm not that mad that they're out of there. I would question, now that we're far enough on the road of recovery, I feel comfortable at least saying, if we're putting in the news that a certain individual is still on oxygen, gets winded easy, is still working through some cardiac rehab, having him at the game might not be the emotional lift that we expect it to be, and could be slightly a distraction. Not saying they lost because of it, but if we want the team to have the heart needed to grind out a game like that, we got to go in a different direction.
Interesting choice of words.
I didn't see much of the Eagles game. That was a blow.
I don't know, KJ.
I don't want him there. Give me a FaceTime from home.
That was one of those losses that you have it's going to be a bad offseason because it wasn't close, and you got dominated physically on both sides of the ball. Whereas the Cowboys loss is just like, we're gonna bitch about our $40 million quarterback. Okay, we've been here before. I understand. The Bills thing, man, like they were supposed to. This
Yeah,
is supposed to be the year.
The other team had Jackson Mahomes in the booth, or not in the booth, but up in the suite though, to kind of offset anything.
We did get
you
a
just
Brittany
said-
and Jackson shot.
You
I
just
think,
said
right?
about Hamlin.
Did he hit the Nene or anything?
He hit everything, man. That's
He
what
hit
he
the
does.
he hit the woe with Damar.
He and Brittany definitely were not super obnoxious up there, making TikToks and whatnot.
I do remember seeing that. I'm thinking that that's the Gene Jones equivalent of if we get a Brittany shot, that's the Chiefs equivalent of like fans don't want this.
No. Yeah, Giants Eagles, we don't even have to talk about. I don't think anybody thought the Giants were going to do it. I didn't think they'd get trucked like they did, but the Giants aren't good. They're not good. They shouldn't have been there. That's all I'm saying.
Fair.
All in all, I'm over it.
Fucking
I've had
Eagles.
48 hours. Eagles are really good. I pull for Jalen Hurts. I know you said he's overrated, famously.
I still think AFC wins this thing, but obviously the Eagles are really fucking good. So
Are women in my life, I should say, sister, wife, people around, are they just now figuring out that Joe Burrow's an attractive guy?
the coolest dude in America.
Like, he already went to a Super Bowl. He won a natty. Like, is this second run, like, is this like what's really putting the nail in? Like, yeah, you know what? This guy is pretty
I
hot.
think he started on top of all the other shit that he's accomplished. He started dressing too,
He did start dressing.
and that I think that's caught the attention of the fairer sex.
Yeah, my sister just tagged me in an Instagram of him, like that he posted. I'm like, what? Why? I don't think we've ever discussed Joe Burrow.
Did she add some emojis along with it?
I mean, God, I don't want to put her on Front Street.
Yeah, he's cool.
All right, we're gonna play the outro music, but stay tuned for 37 minutes of Dillon, Dave, and Micah just being sad. Bye bye.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.
Micah, it's always a pleasure podcasting with you, sir. How are you?
Sad. But generally, I'm okay. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Why you sad? Everything all right at home? What's going on?
Did you get kicked out?
Oh, yeah. No. Things are great.
Okay.
That's, people get sad after football games when teams they support disappoint them and lose.
It's Tuesday,
But
so we've had a lot of time to really just let it sink in, figure out how to cope with it. You were the first person I wanted to talk to. I honestly contemplated watching the game with you, reaching out to see if you would be interested in such a thing, but I figured you're much like me and you like watching it alone so you can be miserable by yourself. You got anything that just jumps out at you that you didn't like, or maybe something you did like?
Well, let me start by saying you are correct. I spent Sunday drinking non-alcoholic beer and pacing around my home in a totally miserable state. Everything about it was nothing about watching the Dallas Cowboys is enjoyable for me. And, maybe that's a sign that I need to find a new hobby or spend my time doing something more worthwhile. But, not a whole lot to like about the team's performance.
How did you feel? Just to interject real quick, how did you feel going into the game? Was there anything that was giving you hope? Obviously, the week before, the Cowboys played pretty well against the Bucs. Dak in particular looked really strong. Did that give you any sense of like, all right, they might have this one against the Niners?
Yeah. So my feeling moving into the game and is sort of the same coming out of it. And my number one feeling coming out of the game is the 49ers are better. The 49ers are better, and the 49ers are better. They are a better football team than the Cowboys. Now, going into the game, I sort of assumed that, but I said, no rookie quarterback has ever taken the team to a Super Bowl. And of all of the rookie quarterbacks in history, is Brock Purdy the one to do it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're going to lose at some point before the Super Bowl. Why not with Micah Parsons chasing him around and harassing him, tricking him into making a mistake or two, and then winning a close game. I thought it was possible, but it basically went the way I expected it to. And not to. I hate being that guy, but you could have seen it from a mile away. And can we just start with the kicker?
Ah, yes, the great Brett Maher.
like, how much worse could the kicker off the street be than Brett Maher? I mean, I'm not expecting you to find Justin Tucker like just off the scrap heap, sitting on his couch, but like kickers in this league between like the 5th best kicker and the 28th best kicker are all basically the same. And the guys on 29 through 32 are good, but Brett Maher was like 1,000. It's just absolute malpractice that guy was still a Cowboy after his performance in Tampa Bay. And to think that we're just going to bring him to a new environment and it's going to be okay. It's not okay. It wasn't okay. And it was stupid to think that. It was coaching malpractice, but it was certainly malpractice on the part of the GM.
Yeah, I
A lot to
agree.
say there.
Obviously, he had like a pretty decent season, Maher, that is.
He had a really good season.
He had a good season, fair. But what he did against Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, I mean, I don't care how good a season you had. Like the yips are a very real thing. Like you can lose confidence in yourself very, very quickly. I don't care how long you've been doing something. And for that to occur in the playoffs, you can't just like hope he like reverts back to his usual regular season self when you can't afford, you can't afford that. And there were also reports of like pregame warmups in San Francisco. He was like 50, like
at that point they had already decided not to dress the backup kicker, so
Right.
it didn't matter.
No,
Like,
I
I mean,
know
they
at
were
that
cooked.
point it didn't matter, but I'm just it just goes to show you that like his confidence was just in the gutter. And I'm sure you're going to talk about it in a minute, but that the extra point that was blocked, like he shanked it. He's lucky it was blocked. So it doesn't go down as like a miss on the stat sheet. But like he pulled that thing so hard.
And my larger point is perhaps even Brett Maher at his best, Maher at his absolute best, is like 5%, 10% better than some guy off the street who's like the 40th best kicker in the world. And so Brett Maher at his absolute worst is a liability that will lose you a football game. You got to replace the guy. He has no value over replacement, and he's a head case. And
Yeah.
I will make the argument that missed extra point is the most important play in the game, because at the end of the half, the Cowboys are tied now 6-6 instead of being ahead 7-6. They have the ball near the 50-yard line. Kellen Moore's butthole tightens up. The play calling got weird because you knew that we can't even – there's no way we're attempting a 50-yard field goal. There's just no chance. So we've got to get in the end zone. So I think they had 3 straight incompletions. They end up punting back to the 49ers. Of course, the 49ers go down and kick a field goal. So now they lead 9-6. I just feel like they lost the game right there. That's 4 points that you could have had. Are really 7 points because the Niners get 1, you miss the extra point, 2, you don't attempt a field goal, and 3, the Niners go down and get a field goal. It was just, it changed the whole game. It changed the whole mindset, and it was totally preventable.
Yeah, and I would have had no problem had they tried to kick that because he has been exceptional from 50 and beyond, and like he made 2 other field goals later in the second half. But I would not have cared if they just gave it one more shot and then after that said, all right, if we get it in the end zone, we're not even kicking the extra point. We're going for 2. Like I would have no problem with that all-in mentality. But you're absolutely right, because now the rest of the game, not that there was a ton to enjoy anyway, all I could think about when we got to their side of the field was, well, we're not kicking. Like,
Yeah.
like everything's 4 down territory. It made it unwatchable. And it just, oh God, watching him roll out there, putting the camera on him on the sideline when they get close. It's just so tense, man. Feel awful for the guy, but yeah, I don't know, man. I had to wonder if they were somehow able to concoct a drive at the end there and got 6 and had the opportunity to kick the extra point and tie it up or go for 2, what they would have done. And I was watching it with my wife. I told her,
100%
I go,
would have gone for 2.
I told her, I go, some people, if he goes for 2 and misses it and they don't get it, obviously people are going to be saying McCarthy's got to go. But I would have no problem with that. You're on the road. You're a dog. Go for 2. But that of course, that didn't happen because our quarterback tried to throw a pick 6 on the first play of that drive.
I'm
Then he
glad-
tried to get a safety on the second.
Those were different drives, right?
Were they different?
The safety was that final, like, there were like 45 seconds left. No
Oh,
timeouts,
yeah.
But the drive before,
The next to last.
which is what I mean, I think it's fair to say the most important offensive drive of Dallas's season, right? Like
Dak's career.
Yes, and Dak, man, that drive, like a legacy drive for Dak, like. First down, he throws what absolutely should have been an interception, possibly a pick 6, but it would have ended the game either way. Luckily, that linebacker had like bricks for hands. Down 2, Michael Gallup streaking downfield. No one was within like 4 yards of him, and he just completely misses him. I know it probably wasn't the most easy pass to hit. He was kind of stepping up in the pocket, and he had someone kind of near him, but still, Michael Gallup was wide open. And then the third down play, I don't know. He's doing a little 2-step in the backfield, and then he gets eventually gets sacked. It was an absolute travesty of a drive for the Cowboys.
I watched one of those YouTube quarterback room film guys who like breaks down like, after a game like that. And he did an entire thing on Dak yesterday. And just the little things that you don't notice, like his footwork and like how he gets like, his feet get a little panicky in there and he hesitates and he's late on a lot of throws, like on that first interception, which, by the way, horrible route by Gallup, horrible throw by Dak. So you just have 2 things there that are just shocking. And I love the part of us trading our number 1 wide receiver, the best route runner in the league, arguably, for a 5th-round pick. Like, you don't think you could have used Amari Cooper yesterday? That's insane. But anyway.
Well, we'll get to that later. Let me ask you a question, Dillon. At the end of that drive, it's now 4th and 10. The Cowboys choose to punt. Were you okay with that choice?
Yeah. I wouldn't have been too upset had they gone for it on 4th down, but I was. They were still deep in their territory and enough time. I mean, obviously the Niners were going to try and stop. Try to burn the clock, and I think Dallas still had full slate of timeouts. Right, still have 3 timeouts, and as long as you can keep 49ers from getting a first down, you have a shot. Of course, they did get a first down, and the running back Mitchell was, he didn't step out of bounds, so the clock. He did step out of bounds, so the clock stopped. Anyway, I didn't hate the call. Dallas obviously has a good defense who was playing well that day. And, but gosh, getting the ball back in Dak's hands. Look, he's a good quarterback until it's like nut up time. And then he kind of just only nuts up.
The window for Dak, I think, for the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl with Dak closed when we gave him that deal. I think you had him a 4th rounder on a rookie deal. You had the pieces in place. You lost that close game. He wasn't bad against Green Bay in that playoff series. But since then, he's had a calf injury. His foot's been sideways. He's the slowest I bet he's ever been in his football career right now, which makes sense. He's older. That's usually how it works. But he's immobile for the most part. And it's just disappointing because I feel like for him to be good, like really good, like he has to be mobile. Like that, like what we saw against Tampa Bay.
But against Tampa Bay, the game was never really in question. Like
No.
the Cowboys had a healthy lead pretty early on, and they just maintained it, which takes all the pressure off of Dak. But as soon as the moment gets tense, Dak just kind of shuts down and is not his usual self. And we've seen it too many times to ignore at this point.
Guys, there's something we have to recognize.
Uh-oh.
Dak is Tony Romo. They're the exact same guy. We've got Romo again. Statistically, I think in their careers, they're almost exactly the same as starters. Yards, winning, all that stuff. You've got a guy that's probably a top 10 quarterback. But now, as you mentioned, he's 29. He was the oldest quarterback in the divisional round. He's been banged up. He missed 4 games this season. He missed games in the past. He's going to continue to miss games in the future. And so now you have a quarterback just like Tony Romo that was mobile, not necessarily electric with his feet, but mobile enough to make a couple plays, but is now older and is losing that ability and is injury prone. And so to say nothing of his performance the rest of the season or towards the playoffs, it's just we're going. It's not going to work. This is where I was at the end of the Romo partnership with the Cowboys. You know, he's just good enough to break your heart. It was clear he might be a top 10 quarterback, but the team was destined to come short with him at the helm. And it's time for a divorce. But of course, your general manager has overpaid and extended the quarterback in a way that you can't divorce him. And we're, you know, unless they draft another fourth rounder who is the SEC Player of the Year, and Dak gets hurt, and then someone else magically rises up, it's not going to end well.
Yeah,
and it stinks.
That comparison's fair, and it's funny because, like, so Romo and Dak are unquestionably like the best quarterbacks we've had since, you know, the 90s, since the glory years, since Aikman. And one was an undrafted free agent, and the other was a fourth-round pick, who they didn't even want. If you remember that draft, they wanted Paxton Lynch. But Denver, I believe Denver snuck up there and got him. Yeah, dude, it sucks because I really, really like Dak. And, like, I don't like having to turn on him. And, like, he's, like, a good guy, and he does a lot of good stuff in the community. And
he's the guy you want as the quarterback of America's team. He's a solid guy. He always says the right thing. He generally he always does the right thing. We've never heard anything else otherwise. And the team likes him and all those things. You could have said the same thing about Tony Romo. And Jerry and the management pussyfooted around for 2 years and put him on, you know, gave him the franchise tag and didn't extend him because they thought they, you know, and so now you're going to pay for that for the next 2 or 3 years, however long he's under contract. And now, I'm afraid, past his prime.
Can we bounce over to the other position in the backfield, the running back? We talk Zeke.
Let's go.
Speaking of, I mean, I would argue that the Zeke contract is actually the biggest problem going forward. Now, you're right about that, Micah. They did wait too long to extend Dak. But as soon as I saw Tony Pollard go down, and I did say high ankle sprain because I've seen enough of those now that I know what they look like. I didn't realize there would be a bone break. I was like, well, the second half is going to be depressing as hell because the thought of us coming back on the road with Zeke in the backfield, it's just it completely changed the complexion of the offense.
Yeah, I was talking to Dave yesterday in the office, and I said, if there's a silver lining to what happened, I mean, Tony Pollard goes down, and like that team is not going to beat Philadelphia. It's just not. Like, yes, of course, it's nice for Dallas to win another playoff game and, you know, go to the conference championship. But I mean, for San Francisco to eliminate our team instead of Philadelphia, that's at least nice in some way. But
isn't that sad?
Yeah,
because I thought the same thing, and I was like, dude, what a pathetic mindset I have right now.
That team wasn't going to beat Philadelphia.
Like, Dan, I was out with Dan Register the night before, and Dan was like, I really need y'all to beat San Francisco. He's like, we're not scared of Dallas at all. So I can only imagine like Dallas rolling in without Tony Pollard, their best player on offense, in my opinion.
Can we talk about Zeke? Because he stinks.
He's
and
terrible.
He's washed, and he hasn't been a difference maker since 2019, even though he's one of the 2 or 3 highest paid running backs in the league still. I texted you guys. He started the game. He played on the first play, and then Pollard came in and played the rest of the first series. Like, he is the starter because Jerry wants him to be the starter. Like, it's clear the coaches, you're not running back one. And, like, it's weird that the announcers just talk about him like he's Jerome Bettis. Like, oh, he's a short yardage guy. Oh, he's a great short yardage back. Like, what? This dude's the 3rd highest paid running back in the league. Like, he's a failure. This is a failure of contract. I mean, he's had a lot of carries. I'm not picking on Dak or on Zeke necessarily. I mean, he's old and he's been worn down, and they've run the shit out of him. But, like, it's just that contract is so onerous that it's really it's hard. And when the announcer's like, well, let's see what Zeke's got. Zeke has no explosiveness. Zeke
No.
hasn't broken any big plays.
How old do you
Like,
think Zeke
any
is?
chance they have?
29.
Oh God, 28 maybe.
He's 27. Dude,
What?
that's a lot of miles.
And he's
he's
toast.
He's also made $50 million is what he's going to end up walking away with. And so I'm happy for him, but he's done. He really hasn't been anything special for the last 2 or 3 years.
Was it 2 seasons ago?
Maybe flashes.
Was it 2 seasons ago that he showed up to training camp like in actual good shape for the first time in a couple of years, and it was like, oh, Deke's like fast twitch Zeke is back.
Yeah, because remember he had when he held out and went to Cabo.
Yeah, and he was
he was supposedly he filmed a documentary of it.
Gooey.
He was like training in Cabo.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm sure, dude. That's what I do when I go to Cabo.
So
is train.
He got criticized a bunch for showing up, pretty out of shape for, an NFL running back. Next season though, he comes in like 12 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
But he still was just not explosive at all. And hasn't been for a few years.
He had flashes 2 years ago. He had nothing last year.
No.
He's had nothing this year. At no point were you, I'm sure there's something, but at no point do you watch him play this season and go, oh, wow, that's different. There aren't 2 backs in the league that do that. He just doesn't have it. And he's getting paid like he has it. And that is not necessarily his fault. It's Jerry's fault.
The smart people I follow on Twitter, they are all in agreement that Jerry's going to work some kind of restructured deal with Zeke, keep him here, but to lessen the cap hit, which, kick the can down the road type deal, which is what we do, I guess. But he sells too many jerseys for Jerry to get rid of them. And that's sad that we have to even factor that into the equation.
Is that really a thing?
He's marketable, dude.
But is Jerry how many dollars is Jerry making on that jersey? I can't. That's that's a terrible way for a general. There's 32 teams. 31 general managers are not taking that into account. They just aren't. And perhaps it's because, maybe it is because he's the owner and the general manager, and his owner hat says, keep that guy. But no other general manager can look at this guy and think if this guy's on any other team after being overpaid and underproductive, he's gone. You just let him walk. How many times have we seen running backs walk? And for some reason, he'll still be a Cowboy for the next 2 years. It blows my mind.
It's hilarious our inability to part ways with people when we should, except for the ones that we shouldn't part ways with. Again, Amari Cooper, it's just it's almost like it's sentimental, And I think I guess we finally did it with Dez, but man, Jerry just gets attached to these guys.
Dez was also cooked.
Who is?
Let's not talk about Dez.
Oh, Dez was cooked. Yeah, you're right. I'm just saying, it wouldn't have shocked anybody if Dez was still here, on the roster somehow, because Jerry refused to let him go. But he did the right thing on that.
He did give us a fun moment at the end of the game, though, when he played center for one snap. And
how did that go? I actually turned the game off. Can you kind of just give me a rundown of what happened there?
Yeah, sure. In a desperation Hail Mary, I don't know what play. I guess they needed 75 yards for a touchdown with a couple seconds left.
3/4 of the field.
Yeah, they lined up in a formation I've personally never seen before in a football game. But they had their running back at center and 0 other down linemen. They had a few linemen lined up outside at where a receiver typically would.
Yeah.
And they ran a play that just really didn't work. And Zeke, playing center, got absolutely pancaked by a linebacker.
Yeah, was he not prepared for that? Did he not understand that man was
I think the few times they've run that play in practice, the defense was like, I don't know what we're supposed to do here. Let's just not rush
probably
Zeke.
Shouldn't run over the franchise running back.
Yeah, exactly. And
it seems like the last time he may have done that in a game was a flag football game when he was a child that he played center, and nobody, you count to 3 Mississippi before you get run over. I thought they ran that final play in tribute to Mike Leach, as they had, offensive linemen spread out all over the field. May he rest in peace.
A weird time to pay tribute to a late college football coach, but yeah, maybe.
And the funniest part, so Zeke gets pancaked. So Dak actually has pressure. They're running this gimmick play, and this dude's running free right toward him, and he throws it to Turpin high. Not that it was going to do anything anyway, but Turpin gets it, and then Turpin just gets absolutely wiped out. It's like just the perfect ending for that game.
Well, the other perfect Turpin play was on the kickoff return where he could either go left or right and go to the end zone, but instead he went straight and fell straight down.
Yeah, I had a feeling about that play, and then
teams are running full speed. I'm not blaming him necessarily,
I know,
but it is sort of, if you want to point to those two plays as encapsulation, that's not a word, but
it's a microcosm. Maybe.
Yes, it's a microcosm of what happened.
Also, shout out to Diggs real quick for completely avoiding any contact whatsoever with George Kittle on the most important play of the game. I guess it was a 3rd and long across the that slant that he bobbled and caught, and Diggs just for whatever reason, was that Gallimore running with Kittle, like he was somehow covering him down the field, and then Diggs runs over and just completely moves out of the way.
It was strange. It was a strange choice to avoid contact there. But let's just talk about the general manager again. And let's say it. The Cowboys are doomed as long as Jerry is alive. And the prospects really aren't much better as long as his family is in charge. And he's sad and sad and sad. But my question to you guys, what other general manager comes out and just says, we're sad? We're sad. We're sad. Now, I know Jerry drank, I'm sure, a bathtub full of Johnny Walker Blue, and I can't blame him for being sad. But, again, a general manager from the other 31 teams, and your season ends that way, and all you can say to the media is, we're sad.
Yeah.
I guess that wasn't a question, but come on.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I have like a theory in my head that nothing good will happen to them in the playoffs until they finally name Will McClay the GM, which he has been. Oh God, this just gets me going because the Sean Payton rumors are real. And to get Sean Payton, you'd have to give up draft capital, probably a first at least. And if we panic move, fire McCarthy, lose Quinn, go after Sean Payton, and give up a 1st-round pick, or God forbid 2 1st-round picks, and handicap the only department in the franchise that actually does its job and does it well, personnel, I'll be sick.
Mm-hmm.
I will be absolutely sick.
Elevate Dan Quinn, please. Get rid of McCarthy, promote Quinn, and be done with it.
I'd be happy. I've only been saying that for the last 10 weeks. And the last 3 years. But, yeah, Dan Quinn should be the head coach of the team. It's pretty clear. I don't think that Jerry's going to pull the trigger on that. It's just sad. And really the worst part is the team isn't up and coming. They're not the Giants. They didn't overachieve this year. It might be better to be a fan of Tampa Bay because at least they underachieved. They're about to tear the whole thing up. Where do the Cowboys go from here? They live in the in-between. Jerry falls in love with his own guys, then he overpays them. And then we wonder why after now a 17-game regular season that, guys are playing through injuries. They're just, when you have all that money tied up in the top guys, especially the ones who don't perform, your depth suffers as and then guys get hurt. This is the nature of this game. And Jerry just doesn't get it. It's crazy. I'm sad.
Are you going to be sad if Kellen Moore gets the job in Carolina? He is interviewing for that.
No,
not particularly.
Can I get wild for a minute, Micah?
Yeah, sure.
What if I told you there was a guy who was a good offensive mind, above average offensive mind, who's been very successful with a number of quarterbacks? Let's just say that guy had a bad year and maybe took a one-way trip to Thailand. Cliff Kingsbury, OC of the Dallas Football Cowboys. How does that make you feel?
I mean, that's fine.
It's juicy.
I'm not excited about it, but don't tell me that's not a move Jerry would make. If Kellen leaves, Jerry hired Kellen. Kellen was not hired by McCarthy. They're not playing McCarthy's scheme. It's not. He doesn't have a disciple there running this offense. And Jerry will go out and make another big splash. If it's not Cliff, it's somebody. And oh man, now you got me all fired up.
Well, I got bad news. It's not going to be Bill O'Brien because Bill O'Brien is no longer with the Crimson Tide. He is now back on staff with the Patriots.
Really? In what capacity?
OC.
Okay.
Not that anybody actually
sometimes
wanted
it helps to actually have an offensive coordinator, unlike whatever the Patriots did this season. But that's a whole other story. I don't know. I'm sure Cliff is the person. Cliff will get interviewed. Jerry wants Cliff, assuming Kellen Moore's gone. Oh, Lord. I don't know if I can sit through this.
I don't either, man. I thought about that. I was like, man, it's going to be a long 6 or 7 months, whatever it is to training camp.
And at the end of the day, they're not as good as the 49ers, even on a third-string quarterback. The 49ers are a better football team. The Eagles this season were consistently a better football team.
They're somewhere between the Giants and the Eagles. That's where the Cowboys are.
Yeah. And that's not, it's not, hey, let's go all in. Let's go get Sean Payton. Forget the future. Let's go win it right now. That's not where this team is.
And the sad thing is with Dak, last thing on him, you didn't even need him to be great. Looking back, he didn't have to go out there and play like he did against Tampa Bay. You just needed him to go out there and be good, a little bit better than average, like what Brock Purdy did. Brock Purdy was good, didn't turn the ball over, but no, you didn't get that. And now we get to talk about it, and my group text will continue to have the worst takes, but that's what we get. That's what we get as Cowboys fans.
Yeah, you really want your I don't know how much Dak made this year, but
40 mil?
40 mil? You really want your $40 million quarterback getting outplayed by a guy making 6 digits, which I think Brock Purdy was this year. Pretty
Low
close,
6 figures.
pretty close to a league minimum. That's cool. That's good stuff.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's good. It's great. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I know that you guys know this, but we them boys, and I hate it. I hate it the most. I maybe Jerry will die. I just don't know what else can happen to solve the problems that we consistently face as a franchise. But hey, pro football, it's fun. You guys have any any thoughts on the games this weekend? I assume you're going to talk about that further as soon as I hang up the phone. But football, there's 3 games left. That's kind of depressing too.
Yeah, we are going to get into it a little bit more.
I'm in that weird place of rooting for Jalen Hurts, but not liking the Eagles. So I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like
I'm on that Joe Burrow train right now.
I think Burrow's my guy right now. I think the Bengals are my team who I'm riding with. But
I just wouldn't mind something good happening to the Cincinnati Bengals and their fan base, over all the other.
Well, you know what?
bases.
I'll say this. I'm sick of the Cincinnati Bengals already because my brother-in-law, who's a very nice guy, he's married to my sister and is a wonderful guy and a wonderful father to my niece.
Okay.
And I like him very much. Okay. But he'd never been a football fan before. And my sister liked this because, she grew up around us and we like football a lot, probably too much. And then the Bengals went to the Super Bowl and now Ryan is all over the Bengals bandwagon all season. He's going to the bar to watch the game. He's having fun. And they've won more playoff games the last 2 years than the Cowboys have since 1993. And I'm fucking jealous and angry. And that's all.
How did he How did he land on the Bengals?
He's from Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's his team. He
caught the wave.
But he's riding the wave, and I'm happy for him. But yeah, these are dark days. These are
Micah.
It's the only other thing I'd say, Dylan. Sorry, is and Dave and I talked about it a little bit. There's just no joy in watching this team play. It's not, I'm an Astros fan, and when it comes to playoff baseball is intense and nerve-wracking, and there's all the dramatic close-up shots of the games on TV of the players and their faces, the fans, and the game by nature is dramatic, but it's fun to watch. I'm excited to watch my team play. there is nothing exciting about watching the Cowboys. It's just a week full of dread. And now I guess I don't have to feel that for the next 9 months.
Give us something positive to end on here. Give us, what good is happening in your life right now that you want to share with the people at home?
I got nothing. I have yet to release a Micah's Read of the Week newsletter.
You're saving it for the newsletter.
I'm saving it for the newsletter, but I'm behind on the newsletter, so that may publish this week. I know people love that. MicahWiener.substack.com.
Well,
you know what? The only joy, and I'm glad you mentioned this because we talked about it when I came on the touching base. The circling back.
thank you.
Apologies. The circling back Patreon episode last week. Brett gave me that meat. The meat was great. I was very happy with that. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. But when I appeared on the show, I said, "Oh no, I was about to say something really smart, and it's just totally left me." I have no joy
hate when that happens.
Well, that really is going to get people to go subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, it was an excellent, a lot of fun. I thought it was, you guys would like it.
It was a nice pop in, and it looked like we if you saw the meats that you smoked on Meat Smokers Only, or I guess you charcoaled them, you didn't really smoke them. I don't know what you call that, but it looked phenomenal.
There were wood chunks available.
Okay, we had some smoke. There was smoke. People were smocking.
Micah,
And confirm.
I hope that you can find enough
Oh,
in your life that's going
Dillon.
to uplift you beyond what the Cowboys have done to you, because you really sound like you're down bad. Yeah, what's up?
Well, I remember on that Patreon podcast, I complained about how the new Twitter sucks. I don't ever want to see the For You stuff. But you know what? I'm starting to reconsider, because now every time I open the Twitter app, I get Nick Adams in my For You.
Just
And
follow him.
He's bringing me a lot of. I do follow him, but he's still popping up in the For You because apparently they know I'm a liberal, so I must have a right wing troll in my For You at all times. Just a scrolling Bobert, Green, Nick Adams, and Nick Adams is a joy. I'm liking all of his tweets, and I'm enjoying what he's doing. I'm glad that he's getting rid of the incredibly sexist pigs at M&M's, and he's won the spokes candy war, and I think we can all be happy about that.
I don't know where his true beliefs lie, but he is by far the funniest thing the right, I'm using that in quotes, has ever produced.
I hope more than anything in the world that this is all a ruse that he is going to expose in a Super Bowl commercial and just come out and say, like, who cares about M&Ms, and make it a thing about M&Ms. But that's not the case. And he's going to hold on for at least a couple more years, I would imagine.
He's been doing this for a while, I think. He's pretty entrenched at this point.
Do you think he'll speak at CPAC?
Oh, I'm sure he has.
Oh,
Sure he has.
God.
Dude, he gets like
Sign me up.
He gets like Fox News spots sometimes. Like he has some people, some influential people absolutely fooled about the bit that he's a real
bit.
treasure.
It's the best bet. It's so good.
I mean, it's like Stephen Colbert without irony. It's remarkable.
And throw in an Australian accent if you're not
Yes,
juiced
and a
up
love
enough
of
about it.
Hooters.
And a love of Hooters. Just checks all of our boxes, really.
Yeah.
Guy plays
Yeah.
well right into our lap. Well, Micah, always a pleasure. Hope to see you soon.
We love you, Micah.
Yeah. And for everybody out there, I would highly suggest a Guinness Zero this week while watching the AFC Championship. Stay strong, dry January followers. And go to earlybirdcbd.com. Use promo code ALGO to save 20%. Thanks, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Actually, go to Early Bird CBD and use promo code WASHED for 20%. How about that?
Okay.
Isn't that our new promo code? Am I allowed to say that?
You know what? Let me check.
I think it is.
Yep, it's washed.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. That was basically therapy. We had to do it to him. I'm sure it won't be the last time we talk about Cowboys, but it'll probably be the last time we devote 37 plus minutes to them this year. So.
Yes.
KJ, any parting thoughts? Anything we need to do? Oh, we need to run it back. We're going to do, sorry, this has been we had weird schedule issues. Dillon and I did not intentionally move the pod because we were sad.
No, I appreciate, I was joking in the beginning. Y'all have been more than accommodating. So
Well, anything for
Let's
you,
do it.
KJ.
Yeah.
Let's run it back real quick. It won't be a long one today. Yeah, run it back, which of course is a segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. Micah hopped on to talk Cowboys and was kind enough not to call anybody fat. Dave said Ebenezer splooge.
It's not what I said. I misspoke.
Babyface now goes by Old Man Face, as he is now significantly older than he was at the height of his popularity. Micah thought maybe the
Yeah, Kev.
Cowboys ran the last play to honor the late Mike Leach. Don't think that was the case. Micah is sad. The idea of Cliff in Dallas is juicy, per Dave.
OC, not coach, for the record.
We still them boys, and Micah hates it. Micah is just really going through it right now. And finally, KJ sat in the cuck chair in an embassy suite. And that concludes Run It Back.
That's what this podcast is like, the embassy suites of podcasts. We're gonna get it done. Look, it's not a boutique. It's not a 5-star.
You can't order room service at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You can't. But if you look up, KJ's gonna be sitting in that chair watching it.
Get out of here.
Until next time, we will see you later. Bye-bye.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.